Today we're going to be continuing our lesson on division of decimals. And I want you to think about how you can divide a decimal by a decimal as we work through the lesson. As always, we're going to begin with our lesson objective. And today's lesson objective is I'm learning to divide a decimal by a decimal. So let's begin by looking at example 1. I want you to divide 11 7/300 by 5 1/10. The strategy that you're going to use is you're going to make the divisor a whole number. I want you to pause the video and try it on your own first, and then I will go into my explanation. So go ahead and pause your video now, please. Make sure you're taking notes as you work through. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to write the problem as a long division problem. So we're going to have our long division bar. Mine's not going to be so good because I'm not really good with this little computer tool. So I'm going to put my divisor outside. So I have 5 1/10. My decimal there. It's taking me a minute. I'm sorry. And then I'm going to have 11 7/300. Now remember, our goal is to write the divisor as a whole number. So to make that divisor a whole number, I'm going to move my decimal place value over one time. And that's going to bring that decimal here. Take that 1 over just a little bit. And it doesn't want to do that for me. So now I have 51. But remember that if we move the decimal in the divisor, we also have to move it in the dividend one place. So I'm going to go ahead and move it over. And now I'm going to move it straight up into my problem, or my answer. So now I'm ready to divide. Uh-oh. It's brought my 1 up instead of the other, hasn't it? So I want to take my decimal over, and I'm going to put it here and paste it, and then I'm going to move it straight up into my answer, which is not going to let me do that, so I'm just going to use my pencil and put it there for you so you can see it. It's between the 7 and the 3. Okay, now we're ready to do our regular division. So you're going to place the decimal point in the quotient and align the decimal point in the quotient with a dividend. So now you're good to go with this particular step. So we're going to start our division in our next step. And we're going to divide as if it were a whole number starting at the left. So your answer should be 2 3/10. 2 3/10. After our lesson from the previous day, if you have any issues about division, go back and watch it again where you see my examples of the division a little bit more in depth. Today, I was thinking by this point you should be ready to try some of these on your own. So if you're still having questions, go back and watch that first video. Let's go ahead and try example 2. You're going to divide 48 594 thousandths by 6 2300ths. First thing that you're going to do and the strategy that you're going to use is make that divisor a whole number. You got to be fair and do the same thing to the dividend. If you move it twice in the divisor, you got to move it twice in the dividend. I want you to pause the video and try it on your own. All right, so the first step is that you're going to use the work numbers in the problem, and you're going to write a long division problem, so it's going to be under the bar. Remember that you're going to have the dividend underneath the bar, which was 48. And 594 thousandths. divided by 6 23/100ths. Now remember, we want to get rid of this decimal in that divisor, so we're going to need to move it 3 times. Remember, in reality, we're multiplying times 100 because that allows us to move that decimal. But we're going to go ahead and take that decimal and we're going to move it over behind the 3. And then we're going to do the same thing here with this decimal. We're going to move it over behind the 9. Wow, that is one big decimal there. We'll go ahead and move it on over. And now we should be able to bring it straight up into our quotient. I'll go ahead and draw my line a little bit further. And that's going to bring our decimal point here into our quotient. So now we're ready to divide as if it were just a regular whole number. So here we're dividing 623 into 48,594. I want you to go ahead and try it on your own. Again, if you're still struggling, go back and watch that previous video where it's a little bit more detailed. In this particular problem, you would get the answer of 7 8/10. And I want you to practice using the inverse operation to check your work. You're going to take the divisor and multiply it times the quotient, and it should equal the dividend. And as you can see, I showed you the work here for your multiplication just to check your work. So take a look at that. That always is going to tell you if you got the answer correct or not when you do your multiplication. If you do that correctly, then it should equal the dividend. And I just noticed that I had the previous problem here, so let me get that new one corrected up there and get the right problem on there for our solution. See, even the teacher makes mistakes, so it's very easy to do. And our answer here should be 7 8/10. All right, I want you to look at example 3. This one, Kelsey ordered some water bottles for her soccer team. The total cost of the water bottles was $34.35. The water bottles cost $2.29 each. How many water bottles did she order? So I want you to make the divisor a whole number. That's the strategy you're going to use. Pause the video and try it on your own. So the first step you're going to take is you're going to write the problem using long division. So your divisor should be $2.29. Your dividend should be $34.35. You're going to make the divisor a whole number by moving it over 2 places. So remember that if you do move the decimal in the divisor, you have to also move it in the dividend the same number of spaces. Once you move it in the dividend, bring it straight up into the quotient. Place the decimal point in the quotient and align the decimal point in the quotient with the dividend. Step 4 is you're going to divide as if it were whole numbers, starting at the left. Once you do your division, you should have $34.35 divided by $2.29 equals 15 water bottles. So Kelsey actually ordered 15 water bottles. Okay, so we're going to revisit our learning objective. For today, our lesson objective is I am learning to divide a decimal by a decimal. Again, if you're still struggling with this concept, go back and watch the video that I posted yesterday. I think it's a little more in depth for you. You can also wait for me to return and I will go over this again with you on Monday. Have a great day. Thank you.